Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What's going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody out there in the crypto land, out there in on the chain world? You know who you are. That one person out there over on Twitch. What's going on? I'll tell you what, Chip. IMF, crypto, and an AI tax. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know why they want
Nobody
to
does.
try to
That's
tax everything, any little
nobody
thing you
does.
do. And how is it that these international bodies think they can put a global tax of anything? Is this a hidden agenda for more state control? I think we'll get into that because I say yes. And here's the other big question. Will XRP surge overnight? I like it's a ramp
Somebody
up
thinks so. Somebody seems to
overnight.
think so. We're gonna find out who that
Clickbait.
somebody is.
Clickbait on this show right now. That's what we're talking
You
about.
guys are putting clickbait. You guys and your clickbait. You
Clickbait.
stupid clickbait. Yeah, what is with you and your clickbait? Clickbait? What clickbait? We'll get to
That's
it.
right. We'll
Stick
get to it.
around. We'll
Maybe.
reveal it in the last minute of the show, right,
The
Jeff?
last 30
Usually.
seconds.
The last 30 seconds, we'll reveal it for all. Everybody will know what it is, exactly what it
Remember
is.
that? Remember that 1 hour topic we wanted to cover? Like, we got 30 seconds to do. Let's go.
Yeah, we can get it done. Jeff, I'm looking through the thing. Why don't I see the why am I not seeing the
So,
open here? Oh, here it is. Got it.
so
Yep.
we haven't opened yet, but here's the point on the whole IMF tax and crypto thing. Somehow they think that it's going to reduce the environmental impact.
Okay.
What?
What?
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome everybody to On the Chain. Where are you coming in from? We got our Aussies
Masters
in
of
here. Aussies are in here. Master of clickbait. That's right. We are the masters of clickbait. We are the masters of clickbait. Well, the funny thing is we will dispel our own clickbait, which is for few too. You have to actually watch the show to understand how we do that.
years
We
and years and years.
we actually dispel our own clickbait titles. Sometimes you have to put them under. It's just for fun.
It's all
Hola,
fun. You know who's
amigo.
bullish?
And
Hola.
it's just for
¿Cómo
fun.
estás?
Clickbait makes me feel better since well, good because we should probably get right to this then, Jimmy, because this is what
Dive
it's like.
right
What's up,
in.
Crypto G? Happy Saturday, Sunday, gents. Thoughts and prayers. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. You guys,
VXDL. Pronounce that.
Vixtel. I don't know.
Fixed. Hey,
Wow.
boys. Me and Mama XRP fix here. Good to see you. There you go.
Yeah.
Got to get the fix
Yeah, I
in.
appreciate that. You guys have been amazing with all the prayers and man and coming in, my mom and gosh, really amazing. She passed away. And I appreciate that, guys. I mean, it's such great man, people reached out to me, Jeff, phone calls, a lot of DMs, and really appreciate everybody out there in the OTC family. It is a family, man. We come together. Even people that argue with me on X were kind and dropped some nice words. And I'm like, okay, we're not going to battle today, but we're going to battle in 2 more days. We're going to go back and forth again. But at least we're having a dialogue. At least people can see there's ideas happening, Jeff,
The
back and forth, right?
it's
You're not going,
human
you're
nature.
what?
No.
It's like you're not like, I'm blocking you.
I'm so glad that you posted that though. It's just like it was so deep felt, and it kind
Yeah.
of resonated through the words, which was really
Well, the best part of
really
it,
great.
the thing was, his mom used to always say, like, what's Jeff up to? What's Jeff doing right now? What's Jeff up to? She'd always ask about you. She'd be like,
Yeah.
and she'd always like say stuff like, Jeff was talking about this one, whatever it was, like, that political thing. How does he know? I feel like he does something. I feel like he knows. Like there's something like she would say stuff like that. And she goes, I don't know what you're talking about the crypto, but I actually like when you guys talk about politics because that part I understand, right? But she'd clip out articles or she'd text me stuff. Hey, I just saw this article about Bitcoin or this and that. And so it was kind of cool that she was into it. She would just watch the podcast, until she became sick, last couple months, but she would just watch it. And she was like, I watched you guys again. I don't know what you're talking about, but I watched you guys. So it was kind of fun to know that she was that loyal to be able to watch it and
That's awesome.
and enjoy it. And she would always ask me questions, or I go on there and she'd say, okay, so here's kind of she like explain blockchain again, because here's how I see it, right? She would just there was a curiosity to it. She was 82, she had Parkinson's, which is ultimately what ended up doing her in. But listen, what keeps me humble is 100 years from now, there will be all new people on the planet. 99% all new people on the planet. So if we don't get it right, don't worry. There'll be another bunch of group of people that will screw it up the same way we did and won't learn from history. So that's why we talk a lot about history here. So That's why we do it. But Jeff, I wanted to. What do you think we should start with? We have so much in there. Do you want to go with that IMF?
Let's just dive into the IMF because it's so poignant right now. They want to tax crypto and AI because they think somehow it's going to overcome the environmental impact. So they're so focused on being green that if you have a tax applied, it's going to fix
Yeah.
whatever their concern is from an environmental perspective. And this is the irrationale of
Well, but it's all a tax, right? The carbon credits, it's like we're going to pretend we're going to feel good about ourselves. It's a hidden, everything's a hidden tax, a way to raise money, a hidden tax. And this is no exception, but here it is right here. It's like you've got this, the IMF economists suggest electricity tax to lower crypto and AI environmental impact. So, Jeff, that title alone is like, it's like an oxymoron within itself. So, if we get a tax going, and we feel good about it, you can continue doing the same thing you're going to do. You're
right.
just going to pay more money for it, right?
Mm.
It's
It's
just,
it's it this is the one of the issues that you have in leftist politics, the irrationality of their mind or their thought process, and this is a good part of it. If they feel guilty about their action, then they punish themselves, but they don't punish themselves. They want to punish the community at large for their own guilt. And so therefore, like with the environment, they're guilty that they're using more electricity because in their mindset, they believe in this whole, green thing, and they want to, reclaim all the land, away from humankind and, set it back onto the path of nature. And, we're not supposed to do anything, but yet they're all their idols that they worship and they bow down at their feet, those in Hollywood and leftist government and elsewhere that run around on, private jets and big yachts, and then it's just like, oh, well, we feel guilty about that. So how about we voluntarily pay a carbon credit? Or why don't we propose this electricity tax because we're somehow going to curb the impact of mining, crypto mining, or AI, the power consumption of AI.
yeah, it's silly. And the funny part about that is like every one of them that complains, we should all pay more money. Listen, the last time I checked on the IRS form, there's a box that says you can contribute more, but nobody ever checks that box because in reality, nobody really wants to pay taxes at
Right.
all, right? We do it because we have to. The gun to our head. We're not like, oh, how can I figure out ways to pay more taxes? I mean, sure, the more money you make, the more taxes you pay. It's a good problem to have. You want to have that's you always say, hey, let me pay a lot of taxes because you're going to make a lot of money or something is going to be financially rewarding. But if you look at this guy, Shafiq Habus, the deputy chief of the IMF's Fiscal Affairs Department, and Nate Vernonlin, another economist at the IM, yeah, economist. Okay, I'll play along, Jeff. Okay, what do you have to say, economist? Well, the authors highlighted the environmental challenges posed by crypto mining, noting that these sectors already account for 2%. Oh no, Jeff. 2% of
All
electricity
global
consumption.
electricity.
So what?
They
How
also
are we
make
gonna
it
rate?
sound they make it right, but they make it sound like they're getting that energy for free. They're just consuming 2% for free. They're not paying for it already.
Of course they are.
Right.
And and so what do you what's gonna be more advantageous, right? The server farms, right? That run basically the backbone of the internet. Like, okay, check. That one's okay. We're gonna be okay with that.
Right.
But
That
wait
one's
a minute,
already
you're
free.
using AI? Oh no, 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 no AI and Bitcoin mining. This is the problem I don't understand. It's like you're paying for the consumption. It's not like, well, the town didn't half of the town's electricity shut down because of the Bitcoin miners, and that's got to stop, right? No, that's not what's happening. It's just that they're not happy about it because they want to figure out a way. And you look at this, the global carbon emissions, 2 points. They're going to lower it to 0.7 by 2027, emphasizing this is all
This
just
is
bupkis. This whole thing is a bunch of
Well,
garbage.
the other part of it is that they're realizing that you can't control outcome of production of AI or crypto. There's no control mechanism like if it was a physical good that
Right.
they're taxing shipping, they're taxing the gas consumption when it's on a freight or air, transport. They're involved in every aspect of the production of goods that are moving around. Not necessarily the IMF specifically, but all the different state entities and governments are somehow finding a way to protect. But as soon as we go into this AI environment, we go into a crypto environment, now all of a sudden they're looking like, wow, we're transacting a lot of data, and yet we're not getting our piece of the pie. So what do we do? Oh yeah, that's right. We've told everyone that we want to push everyone to go green, and we need to overtax them to go green, and we have to, take advantage of their guilty conscience. And so what we're going to do is let them know, that we're going to do it to help decrease the impact on the environment, and that's how they're going to start regulating and collecting tax and being more punitive. And that's what it's all about. It's the punitive nature of it. It has nothing to do with the more money you pump into government, the less likely they are to do anything, the less impactful they're going to be. The more people you have involved in government, the less impactful they're going to be. I mean,
Well,
where does the intersect?
well, Kamala Harris had another role besides being border czar, but it was to they had like something like $6 billion earmarked to put internet like a backbone into places that don't have it, and they've only done like 10 houses, $6 billion, 2 years, right? And they were supposed to put these electric chargers for the cars, like 6 of them have been put in. So it's like, listen, tell us you're going to fix that now. How are you going to, when you would re-elect somebody? You've been doing this for 4 years, but look at this, the tax system, a one way to steer companies toward curbing emissions. According to IMF estimates, a direct tax of 0.047 per kilowatt hour would drive the mining industry to curb its emissions in line with global goals. How
does that work exactly? Decrease production, decrease the amount of time. I wonder, DNI, now that we brought up the IMF, we did throw out the IMF bat signal, so we're glad that you showed up, and we're so glad that you saw it. But now that you're here, throw in some commentary, from your side of the world. But that statement right there is so irrational. It just makes no sense whatsoever. How is it going to have an impact? I mean, I don't care if you pay an extra dollar, you pay an extra $1 million. How is that going to impact, other than when you realize that you're going to pay a tax, you're going to pass it on to somebody, someone else is going to pay it, not the mining aspect, but they're also going to have to find a way to make more money. So they're going to have to produce more because, they're passing the tax on. Somehow they're getting the front end impact. They're going to pass it on. So then there's, it just makes no sense. The whole thing, it's going to punish the consumer at the end of the day.
Punish everybody. These are the same people that never ran a business, never actually ventured outside of their house, live in their mom's basement or something. This is just mental disorder stuff. This is like classified as a mental disability and mental disorder. And they're going to what'll stop people? Well, just tax it. No, it's just going to piss people off. What it's going to do is they're going to figure out a way to skirt it. They're going to figure out a way to build their own power companies and not have to deal with you and pay your taxes. And and geez, what is this tax going to actually go to, right? And who is the IMF anyway?
Exactly. Yeah,
IMF is an unelected bureaucratic organization that doesn't have any bearing on anybody. Sure, they've gotten to some dictators and they've put the thumb on them, and they've done some of that, but not guys like Bukele who told them to go, F themselves. He's like, we don't need you. Good luck. The World Bank, remember he wanted help with the World Bank and Bitcoin. They're like, screw you. He's like, screw me. Screw you.
Screw you. Right.
With you. We don't need you. We don't need your kind around here.
The IMF is another organization like the United Nations that just prey on the vulnerable and the weak, and they make money off the vulnerable and weak. It doesn't behoove the IMF or the United Nations and different entities within the UN to improve the conditions in any of the countries that they end up residing in or participating to help and support. Because if they actually help them, then there would be no need for the UN presence, and all those entities and all those billions of dollars that are flowing through those organizations and like through the IMF, it becomes null and void and pointless. But look at DNI here saying, when I was hired by the government, a good friend and fellow government employee told me, forget about your job description that you're hired for. Your new job description is protect your job.
Pretty much. That's what they tell new freshman Congress people that go into the House or the Senate. The first thing they tell them is your new job. It's more so in the House because it's 2 years. Your new job from just getting here is raising money to keep your job. That's your main job. And the other job is like go to microphones and make people feel good about themselves. That's what decentralization comes in, because guess what? We don't need you anymore. We don't need a rep. We don't need you. We have the true voice of the people, right? I mean, this is the funny part. This is pretty much why I think the people that are smarter about it, the governments that are smarter about it, they kind of know that that's what it is. But let's get to this clickbait, Jeff.
Gotta love the clickbait. It's clickbait time. We should have a song and a dance. We'll make an AI song.
We can do that.
Time.
Yeah, we can do that. So this is a guy.
Clickbait.
This guy's name is Pastor Brandon Briggs. And back in March, he predicted something that actually happened. So, like, you could probably make 1,000 predictions, Jeff. And, like they say, a broken clock's right twice a day. So you could probably be like, oh, okay. So then one prediction's right. And you're like, oh my gosh, what's the next prediction? And that's kind of in line with this. So please understand that when we play this, we are just playing something that we came across. We're not, 589ing and all this kind of stuff. This is just
we didn't invent it.
Okay, let's not get crazy.
We didn't say it.
We didn't say anything. We just said, like, playing the videos. We're going to comment on it. Here it is.
They were bringing forth a new patriotism upon the nation.
This is the prediction he made back in March.
And it was coming. It was being birthed, and it just kept spreading like fire all throughout America, all throughout. And I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking, people say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming.
Okay. So there you go. That's the first one, right? That's what
there you go.
And then the second one, this comes out of nowhere, Jeff. Like, and it's funny because I remember somebody sharing this stuff, and I looked at it, and then I remember them. Now I've seen this new one flying around. I'm like, dude, this is like right out of left field. That someone just like handed them dollar bills to say, now say this, now say that, right? But this is a new prediction. But let's listen in.
But I'm telling you, I keep seeing XRP, and like I said, I'm not telling you to invest in it. That's on you. Do not say, hey, you told me to invest in it. No, I'm telling you, there's going to be something in my spirit, in my opinion, with XRP in the near future. And I keep seeing it go overnight. It's like right now, I think it was like 47 cents per XRP. And all of a sudden, I am hearing in my spirit there's going to be an acceleration of things.
Do you know what that acceleration is going to be? Right back down to 0.006, Jeff. He saw it.
Acceleration.
You may have seen that. He sees that acceleration. Now, at no time does he make a prediction. He says, I see an acceleration. Yes, so have we. We've seen the acceleration on a downward trend. But he doesn't say he says it's going to go overnight. Doesn't say it's going to actually hit $1, or he doesn't make a price prediction. But it would almost lead you, if you're an optimistic person, you go like, oh, this guy who predicted the Trump now sees it going, it's going to moon. He could see it going the other way too, right? There's a lot of different ways if you're a pessimist, you might see the other way. But look, I just saw this floating around the internet. I'm like, come on, people. Really? I mean, come on.
Here's what I got for you, Chip.
A short, funny segment. You're going to do it better. Our next segment is clickbait time.
Clickety bang. I was just like, you should see how people are freaking out about this on the internet. They're going crazy. They're like, you see, he said he didn't say any of that. All he said was, I didn't tell you to invest in it, and I see it accelerating. Well, so do we. Seems to be on that downward trajectory. So I don't know. Who knows, Jeff? It's just another one more of those things that the people are out there are going on. If it's not the Riddlers and the this and the that, and Mr. Poole starting to say getting a little bit restless and saying a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, okay, people, this is sure. I mean, we haven't seen any movement in 6 years, but sure, it's gonna happen.
XRP has moved a little bit.
Where did it move to? Downward?
No, I mean it's moved in the past 12 years.
The past 12 years. Yeah, it's moved. It has moved a little bit here and there. So Jeff, Jake
moving
Paul,
the needle.
Jake Paul has this fight coming up against one of the greatest of all time, Tyson. So he's in New York and he's having a press conference, and the New Yorkers were not happy with some of his comments. But let's listen in here.
Making history. This is what it's all about for me, man. I'm a kid from Ohio. Hey, New York, shut the fuck up, New York. Hey, boo yourselves. Boo yourselves, New York.
Oh my God.
Hey, New York, New York, New York. You're just like Mike Tyson. You were good 20 years ago. Fuck you, New York. Fuck you. Dumbass Democratic City.
Well, they didn't like that.
Oh my God, that's
I'm
awesome.
not a big fan of this, but I found this
No.
funny. It's like, it's like they're booing him and stuff. I'm just a kid from Ohio. Boo, booing him left and right.
He doesn't care. That's so funny. That's too funny, dude. That's hilarious.
I mean, Tyson makes a lot of money on this. I mean, I think that if it was a real fight, I really don't think Jake Paul would survive it. But who knows, Jeff? I really don't know.
No, if Tyson was gonna, if the fight actually goes through, because Tyson had an issue the last round, and wasn't able to fight. So if it actually takes place, it's not going to be. It can't be a real fight. Tyson's still got the punches. He's still, he's going to have some power, and I don't know that Jake Paul is going to be able to stand up to some of the power that Tyson's going to deliver. It's going to go fast.
I don't know if it's. I don't know either.
If he was going to do it, yeah.
And then there's this content creator that I've been seeing all over the X as of late.
Oh, hey, check this out real quick.
I can't understand if it's parody or not, Jeff.
Hang on. Sorry.
Right, a short, funny segment to introduce that our next segment is clickbait time.
Clickbait time. Thanks, Jeff.
The next segment probably isn't, but
well, this is one of those. This is like, I can't tell if this is parody. I'm hoping it's parody, but I can't tell. That's how 2024 is turning out, right?
That's
10 years ago, you'd be like, of course, pure parody. Like, this is parody. Of course it's parody. Now we're at the segment where like, is it? We don't even know if it's AI. We don't know if it's
we don't know anything anymore. It's crazy.
or AI. It's hard to distinguish between it, right? So anyway, this is a content creator, and I'm pretty sure it's parody, Jeff, but I don't know, because I have another video by her too where I'm thinking, I don't know. Let's just watch. You tell me, guys, what you think.
Kamala is really girl bossing. Like, she is really doing her big one right now, because she just came out with her policies finally, and she said, you know what? Just make the companies charge less money for things. Oh, people can't afford houses? Just give them free money for the house. Duh, right? I mean, these other politicians, they just overcomplicate things with, different factors like the economy. Like, idiots, right? We really needed a girl boss to come in and fix the problem. Like, slay.
That's what we needed. We needed a girl boss to come in and fix the problem. So I go, okay, well,
free money for houses.
Yeah, that's not socialism. Like when the government tells the corporations what to do, right? To like price gauging. It was price gouging. Okay, gouging. So then I saw this video and I'm like, I don't know, is this parody?
There's so many Trump supporters in my comments right now asking me dumb questions like this because they clearly don't understand how the economy works.
So the question is okay, let me ask you how we're going to pay for all this. Are you ready for this, Jeff? Here we go.
Let me explain how it's perfectly feasible for Kamala to give everybody free money. If you'll look at this chart behind me, you'll see a weather map, and you can clearly see here that...
Jeff, are you frozen? Or are you just looking down? No.
Just looking down.
Okay.
My
you got to pay close attention. You don't want to miss
phone
this.
Just beeped.
Almost every day in the U.S. it rains. Like, all over the country it rains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what do we know happens after it rains? One of these things pops up.
And one of these things is a rainbow, right, Jeff? You know where you think you know where this is going? I had no idea. I honestly had no idea.
Okay. What Kamala's planning to do is when the rainbow comes up, we're going to have a task force of people go out to the end of the rainbow where they will find one of these. These kind gentlemen have been giving out pots of gold to us for generations. And what happens is the other politicians have known about this secret and they just take the gold for themselves. Like, they don't even share it. But what Kamala's planning to do is pump these pots of gold into the economy and back into the hands of the American people. And I commend her for that. So y'all need to get woke, okay? It's time to be unburdened by what has been.
It's parody, right,
That's
Jeff?
awesome. Oh, it's definitely parody.
And I commend her for that.
That's awesome.
So y'all need to get woke, okay? It's time to be unburdened by what has been.
That's great. Oh my God. That's so funny.
See, Jeff, that's why weren't we harvesting the gold at the end of the rainbow? Like, why did we think about that, Jeff?
Definitely should be harvesting gold at the
Not
end of the rainbow. The only time I've ever seen a rainbow like in front of me, and I was like, maybe this is where we're gonna find the pot of gold. We're in Iceland and we're driving down the road, and it was like open, and it's always raining. The rainbow ended right on the road, and so as we're driving, and when it's the craziest thing I've ever seen, we got to drive through the rainbow. Obviously, it changed direction because the angle of the light and everything, but we're getting right to right there. There was no gold. No gold. It was elusive. The leprechaun was elusive. We're looking.
Look at
It was just very elusive.
I mean, Lucky Charms. Oh boy, look at this K-Hud. Where's K-Hud been? K-Hud popping in for a big old time. What the F? This
K-Hud.
Millions of these thinkers. Yeah, K-Hud's calling them thinkers. Okay. Thinkers is what you want to go with. All right. Appreciate that, K-Hud. They're called thinkers now. Jim D, is this idiot joking and parody? It's hard to know, man. I'm hoping to God it's parody because it has to be, right?
Exactly. That's exactly how I think through it. It has to be parody, because if it's not parody, then we got other problems in this country.
No gold, no Skittles. Remember Skittles?
Oh
yeah.
Man, that was a great commercial.
Those commercials for a while were good. Jim D says, well, why doesn't Kamala just
colors of the rainbow
cash at standard income of $1 million per year? Right. What are we paying taxes for? You print it.
Exactly.
Who cares? That's what causes inflation. I mean, holy cow. I mean, my God, this is some insane.
Well, that's what Bukele came and told us, right? When he spoke in front of CPAC. He said, oh, you're paying taxes for no reason because they're printing money. They don't need your taxes to pay for all the stuff that they're paying for because they're printing money to do it. And so you're devaluing the currency, but your taxes, they're taxing you just to give you the impression that your taxes are being used. And then they're lying, saying that we need more taxation in order to pay for more goods, but they're just printing the money into oblivion. That's all it is.
Yeah. And it's like, so we're supposed to, the whole thing is insane, Jeff. Like I do have a video, but it's kind of harsh. I don't know if I should play it. It's got some harsh language in it. I don't know how that would go over. I mean, we're just playing someone else's thing. It's not ours, Jeff. We would never play we would never do something like this in all of our AI honest. We would never do this. We'd love to, but I don't think we would, Jeff. But it's potentially that there's a good shot. You know what we'll do is we might include it with our rest of our goodies in our collection. The Crypto Campers here off the Lake Mary, Florida, Little League. Good for you. 2-0 in the World Series. Good to hear that.
Yes.
That is absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Mr. Bullish said it has to be parody. It better be parody.
Right.
Parody, right? That's kind of right. You gotta go through that.
We know. I mean, I honestly don't know, But the Brendan Dilly meme team is making some classic. They're doing some really extraordinary work. But I guess we'll wonder if we should play this particular one. But moving right along here, we had a lot of videos in our segment today. Sometimes I did like the show. Yeah, crypto focused, Jeff. It was rare, but it was all crypto focused. Talked about South Korea and how amazing it is.
Yeah.
Comes to the XRPL and everything, but what's going over there? Somebody made a parody video, Jeff. You could get jailed for playing this video. You know why? Because Keir Starmer said that if you step outside the lines, they're coming to get the Americans, Jeff. That means they're coming to get you. They're coming to get you.
No, so, I love all that commentary.
So listen to this. Here's a little video.
Is more comments on
too loud? Right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast? Jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses, you ride to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away. We have the best patients in the world because of jail.
Because of jail. That's great.
So,
Oh my
look,
God.
all I have to say is come get me.
Jail.
Come down to Florida. Come down here. Enjoy the alligators and come arrest me. I'm telling you, you can. Just let's see if you can.
Don't get out of the fast lane. Jail.
Right. That's
drive in the middle lane or the fast lane. Chip.
Deal with that yesterday. I'm like,
Jail.
you're doing 40 in like a 65 lane, and you're in the left lane, and 4,000 cars have passed you. Like, what?
Yeah.
What actually like warning sign are you looking for? Right? I mean, like, come on, please. That should be jail. I mean, there are certain things that should be.
Which clip was taken off YouTube?
They're all taken off YouTube, man. What do you think? You think we made
Oh,
these?
the original one,
No,
or the parody one.
They put his face over top of it. You know, obviously, it wasn't done very well, but the point was there.
That was the point. That was the why.
Yeah,
Was the original one taken down?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, no, it was. I don't know. It was somebody else's. It was some other parody or something. I don't know what it was, but somebody put the face over top of it. So who really knows what it was? You know, nobody really knows. There was a time, Jeff, when you get to Australia next year, you should challenge Ray Gun, dude. I will definitely do a dance off. Whoever wins gets to do the shoe.
There you go.
Me, man.
Dance off.
Ray Gun is having a really rough time. Like, I played that video the day where she was. We put her in a game. People just hitting all the buttons. That was a good one. That was a good parody one. So I have that one. Let me see if I have that one. I would definitely challenge her.
Mike is late again,
and I might be able to win. Now, the girl that she supposedly beat out, that was the best part because was really super talented. And I was like, what? I don't know how that happened, but I know how it happened. She was her husband was on the committee. I think that was part of how it happened.
Well, she got on the committee, or she was on the committee, and therefore she got chosen. The whole thing is a little bit bizarre. But I mean, at least it gave a little bit of levity to the Olympics that no one was really paying attention to anymore. So it got people to start talking about at least something out of the Olympics.
Yeah, I can't even find the video now. I had it somewhere. I had it saved somewhere, but who the heck knows where it is? I don't know where it is. It's somewhere. It is somewhere.
You're not relevant in this world if your YouTube content hasn't been taken down or placed in timeout. That's right. That's true.
Well, apparently
that never happened to us.
Or if so many subscribers, 26,500, and you're now about to go under 25,000 thanks to the YouTube. Yeah, it wasn't up for very long. Well, there you go.
Yes.
So there was a time, Jeff, where Donald Trump was and loved by celebrities. It wasn't until he ran for president in 2016, but he wrote. A lot of people don't know that he wrote a kid's book, and this is with him with Jimmy Kimmel before Jimmy Kimmel turned into a hate monster, like and get Trump. Right. But I'm not sure if you're aware of this book, but I think it's worth reviewing.
All right, Winners Aren't Losers by Donald J. Trump. Winners aren't losers; they're winners, like me. A loser's a loser. Which one will you be? Winners do deals and winners get rich, while sad little losers just sit there and bitch. Big seller. My daughter loves it. The dog is a loser, and frankly, I pity it. This dog did bad deals. This dog is an idiot. And poor Mr. Bear, he must feel like a loser, valeting that 2006 PT Cruiser. This lobster's a loser. Throw him in the pot. I like a lobster who doesn't get caught. Those losers are failures who get nothing done. Just do what I do and you'll be number one. Now, here are some frogs I do not like at all. We must kick these frogs out and then build a wall. Oh, the places you'll go on your yacht, on your plane, with your suits from Milan and your wives from Ukraine. Oh, the buildings you'll build, oh, the wealth you'll amass, oh, the people around you all kissing your ass. There are two kinds of people. Which one will you be? A loser like them? Would you like to finish? Or a winner? Like me. Donald Trump, everybody.
Yeah, you got to like that. I don't even know if that was a real thing or not, but it was funny.
I don't know. That's awesome.
But that's just the thing.
Awesome.
He's willing to go in and poke fun at himself. That's the whole point of
That's right.
Trump. Winners are losers. I'm sure like you wrote a book like that, you know. So Jeff, you were recently in Michigan, and they have that nut job
I was there not too long ago.
Governor Whitlis, right?
Witless.
So Whitlis, listen what she's saying. Well, the question she was asked here. Listen what she says here.
Support the Harris administration if she were to be elected, adopting those proposals I just laid out for you. For example, driver's licenses for those who are undocumented.
When people are in this country, that they have access to have some form of ID. That's really important. And I think to the spirit of those things, I think should be a part of any vision for the country and our security and how we bring great people into this country.
What in the hell did she just say? The best part is when Trump walks up to her and puts the makeup on her.
It's so crazy.
Look at this.
Support the Harris administration.
So she muddles her way through this, but she basically says, yeah.
If she were to be elected, adopting those proposals I just laid out for you. For example, driver's licenses for those who are undocumented.
Yeah, she says they need ID. Well, you know what? You can get an ID. You definitely don't need a license.
How about kick them out of the country?
That's a good thing too.
So sick of them, calling them undocumented, calling them immigrants.
Illegal.
They're not. They're illegal. They're illegally in this country, and it's time, to the violence that's taking place on such a broad scale. And granted, there's a lot of crime that's being committed without them here, but now it's just like every week, multiple times a week, you hear of another incident. And, those incidents wouldn't have happened. It's bad enough we have our own crime to worry about. Now we have to indulge in everybody else's crime from all over the world. We don't need, the gangs from Venezuela or from El Salvador or wherever they're coming from. We don't need, the criminals from the Middle East or from Africa or from Asia. Don't need them.
From anywhere.
And
it doesn't matter where they're from. We have our own criminals, Jeff, we need to worry about.
We have our own to worry about. And, and how many military-aged men, young men, are now in this country and are now in many parts of Europe.
Too many.
Way too many. And we're seeing what's going on in England. We're starting to see the Patriots rise up in England. Maybe a little, too little, too late. But hopefully it gains a little momentum so they can out the lunatics that are over there. And the same thing over in Ireland. I'm shocked every day when I see these videos coming out, from those different countries. And, it's the one part of it is that, again, it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. The reason why they want to tax AI and crypto mining, because of their own guilty conscience, that they think it has some sort of an impact on the environment. And it's the same thing. They're guilty over their wealth, or they're guilty. They live in some privileged upbringing, and many that have all this time, to spend every single day, every waking moment of their day. They're out there protesting because maybe they were raised with a silver spoon in their mouth, but now they're squandering their family's wealth because it was either their parents or their grandparents that struggled to get to where they were and wanted to create generational wealth so their kids didn't have to struggle the way they did. And then it gets down to the point of the children or their grandchildren, and it's such a slap in the face of the grandparents or the parents that had to suffer, and go through everything they did in order to improve everybody's lives. And, it's shocking to me, what we've gone through and what our World War II, generation had to actually fight real, socialism and communism and fascism at a scale like we haven't seen. And, hopefully we don't have to witness it all over again. But now the grandchildren, and starting with the children of the World War II soldiers, survivors, what have you. It was the children that started this move to the left. And then some of the grandchildren, depending on what era they were born in, just keep pushing in that leftist direction. It must be rolling over, it's crazy. It's crazy to me that we're at this point, that we have to deal with this stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Only reason, Vince Scully says, the only reason we don't look like Britain right now is because we have guns. Why do you think they're trying to take them away? Why do you think that is? And then Jim D says Trump recently modified or signaled a change in immigration policy, saying we need more labor to do the jobs that AI can't replace. But to get the baddies out, he's trying to signal to moderate Dems. Hey, a lot of people can play that game, but it's going to be the largest deportation in history. So, Jeff, when Kamala, I'm always saying her name wrong. It's Kamala, okay, but I'll just say Kamala, whatever.
Kamala.
Whatever it is. I'll just say VP Harris. How about if I say that? Anyway, she doesn't do a formal interview, but if you catch her stepping off a bus and you actually ask her a question like, hey, so you rolled out a little bit of your economic policy. How do you intend to pay for that? Now, you heard the other parody video, right? You heard that. Now, let's listen what her answer is. Let's listen in close.
Your economic policies last week. Yeah. Can you explain how you're going to pay for those? And can you give us a sense of what other policies you want to unveil going forward?
Okay, so before she answers the question, now right over her right shoulder, which is off to the left on the screen, you're going to see Tim Walz and his wife standing there. And at some point, you get this look in his eye like, almost like, what's she talking about, right? Just like you watch his face a little bit. Here she goes. Now here comes the word salad. She's going to tell us exactly how it's going to happen. Ready?
Sure. Well, I mean, you just look at it in terms of what we are talking about, for example, around children and the child tax credit and extending the EITC. It's at $6,000 for the first year of a child's life. The return on that investment in terms of what that will do and what it will pay for will be tremendous.
What it will do and what it will pay for. It'll be tremendous. Really? What is that exactly?
Seen it when we did it in the first year of our administration. We reduced child poverty by over 50%.
What?
Child poverty. She's always hammered.
So that's a lot of the work. And then what we're doing in terms of the tax credits, we know that there's a great return on that investment. And when we increase home ownership in America, what that means in terms of increasing the tax base, not to mention property tax base, what that does to fund schools, again, return on investment. I think it's a mistake for any person who talks about public policy to not critically evaluate how you...
Jeff, I'm just going to ask you right now, what is she talking about, Jeff? I have no clue what she's even going on about. She is drunk at the time. I think she's having vodka. A cop actually came out and said that at one event she was so drunk that if she would drive, and he would have been arrested for DUI.
Yeah, they were analyzing the way her speech patterns, and it even just the eyes and just everything about it. But she's so off the mark on the question. Well, like, what's your economic policy? Come on. Yep, we're gonna help create. Just keep it short and simple. She's getting into explanations that she doesn't really understand or know about, and she's trying to hit all these bullet points, and she's just throwing stuff around, and it's just so meaningless. It's amazing.
It's peak.
Measure the return on investment. When you are strengthening neighborhoods, strengthening communities, and in particular the economy of those communities, and investing in a broad-based economy, everybody benefits, and it pays for itself.
It pays for itself. Okay, thank you. How does it pay for itself? Nobody knows.
At a state level. So how is the federal government involved in what's happening at a state level? If, within state communities, then you go into inner cities, that many of those inner cities have been, put in those positions because liberal policy and Democrat, handouts and, and the dismantling of the family unit. And so this is, all Democrat plans. And, and then we look at what they talk about, and to a point, she has some like interesting stuff in there that, yes, that's exactly what we need to do. We need to, help bring up those communities, and you need to have ready access to jobs. You need to have ready access to grocery stores and other things in those communities. But how about, if we're going to look at economic policies, let's talk more about job production and job growth. How are you going to help companies and incentivize companies to want to go out and create more jobs? Right. Now they've demoralized and destroyed our economy. Well, they're pushing all of our innovation offshore for blockchain, and she didn't say anything about job creation and what they can do to help at least support that by pulling back restrictive measures that they put in place on gas production, on oil, on drilling, on all the different things that we need to become energy independent, which does create actual wealth in this country and can help and bring the price of goods down through production. But they don't talk about that. For them, Chip, it's all handout. It's all what we're going to give. So they want to give $25,000 credit on a $400,000 or $500,000 house from a government is meaningless. You know what? This is what they do time and time again. And it's crazy how they phrase this stuff like they're paying the people, they're helping the people. It's a transfer of wealth, once again, from the tax base into the banking infrastructure. It's a transfer of wealth from the federal government, from the tax base, because the federal government manages our taxes, right to distribution within the insurance agencies and the insurance companies. It's a constant vicious cycle of what they're doing. And that's the transfer of wealth, because if they're giving a $25,000 tax credit, well, okay, it goes back into the hands of the banks. And then who's supporting all these candidates? Oh, yeah, that's right. The financial institutions and the banks. It's this vicious cycle, because that's the one area that they have left. Otherwise, they'd be talking to Sam Bankman-Fried, but he's in jail.
So the Kelly Slade's comment, she says the guy to Walt's right is like, stop talking. Well, that happens to be the first gentleman. That happens to be Dougie, her husband. And he does kind of like, look, he puts his head down. Look at the body language here. As she's talking, puts the head down, and watch the look he gives her right here. Look at, oh, please stop talking. Please shut
the three of them.
Look,
all of them over there. They're all looking at their feet.
They know. Come on, you're not these. And Jeff, please explain to me how Waltz and I are the same age. This guy's got to be 75 years old. Honestly, when they announced his age, I said, how is he like 2 months old? He's 2 months older than me, Jeff. This guy here looks like, when I saw, I said like, okay, why would she pick an old dude? I thought she'd pick somebody maybe a little younger. I was like, why'd she pick a 75-year-old dude? No, he's not 75, Jeff. My God, I'm like, what in the hell's going on? There's no way he's that. No, there's no way. No.
The other thing that they're doing, they're repackaging bad policy from the Carter era and the Clinton era. And so that's why Mark brings up Clinton's Community Reinvestment Act also increased home ownership, but it also had Our 2008 meltdown wasn't because they had, higher risk or, certain creative mortgages. But those mortgages were backed by, again, the banks that were then forced into those positions by the government, because the government came out and said, starting with Carter and continued with Clinton, that if you don't provide loans, mortgages to people that can't afford them, to these communities, then you're not going to be allowed to expand your branches, and you can't expand your banking presence. So there's all this manipulation that went on behind the scenes. And it's just crazy that 2008 meltdown all started because of, Carter and Clinton, and it led to where we ended up. And then what happened again, when we had the meltdown, again, it was a transfer of wealth out of the hands from the people, from the tax base. Where did it go? Too big to fail. And it was just massaging, all those that support them in their elections. And it's crazy. And they just repackage it with brand new names. Nothing new, zero, except she can't explain it. They're insanity, right? You worked in the bankruptcy, all that industry back in the day, and the mortgages.
And man, what a mess it is, man. And there's zero accountability. People, all these organizations got flush with money even after they failed. They sold all the bad paper back and forth to the point of where it was.
My name is Bill Wells. I'm the mayor of the.
So this is what's going on in California, Jeff. Look at this.
My name is Bill Wells. I'm the mayor of the city of El Cajon.
And here in San Diego County, we're seeing a lot of stuff happening here at the border. And you guys being a border town, how is it affecting the city here?
Since October, we've had over 250,000 drop-offs in San Diego, these street releases. The county of San Diego already spent $6 million on a migrant welcome center, which I'm not sure why we need that, but they've just allocated another $19 million for that. But, there are also costs that you don't see. Everybody that comes across, whether they're a citizen or not, is entitled to full health care. That even includes having sex change operations. That's an expense for the whole family. People that come over with kids are put up in hotels. Those hotels costs $8,000 to $10,000 per month, and that's paid for by the city. So these are expensive things. Now there's a bill in California that says that if you're an illegal alien, you can get free college tuition, even a 20% down on a house. These are things that American citizens are not getting.
It's good to see somebody like San Diego is a pretty conservative city, and he's the mayor of El Cajon, which is near. It's mind blowing, Jeff. It's actually mind boggling that you would actually see this kind of stuff happening. Like, how is this even possible? I mean, my God, how?
Devin,
Well,
I heard that Lloyd's Bank are now buying properties to rent out. Could just be a rumor, but it's a new way for banks to go if true. And the banks were sitting, and when they foreclosed on properties, they were sitting on huge amounts of real estate. I'm sure they still are, if they
there's
didn't
always
turn it all over.
a 5 to 7% default rate, but at that time it was like 15 to 18%. It was just a lot flooded the marketplace. But Jeff, this was today, California.
Wow.
Trump train.
That's awesome.
101 South, guys. California Trump train. Check it out. Hundreds of vehicles out here supporting Trump, guys. Look at this. Yes, this is California. Check this out. It goes on.
You're dreaming.
Imagine rolling down there and seeing that. That's pretty insane, right? So you're probably wondering, like, what was that? Well, that was a special event that they had. And I'll show the poster.
That's
from
awesome.
that right here. So it was the statewide California Trump train for God and country. It was August 16th to 18th. All freedom fighters and American-loving patriots. Let's show the world how red California truly is. From North Cal to South Cal, we must unite. Get all these little organizations around there from there, but it's kind of a cool thing. That was the
That's
whole
awesome.
Trump train, so it's kind of cool.
That. Man.
Very cool, man.
Man, the other thing that the legacy media was twisting outside of everything they talk about on crypto, but the supposed support that they're gonna come up with. But the other thing, Trump was speaking the other day, and he was talking about the presidential medal recipients.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
And just watching, how the legacy media, kind of spun everything in a completely different direction from reality. And Congressman Mast was on, he's here from Florida, and he was explaining exactly what he was referencing. Whether you're going to get, from a military perspective or as a civilian perspective, when you get the accommodation from the president as a civilian, it's for something that you've done, that's exemplary. And on the military side, they don't want to get those medals because that means that someone's been, gravely wounded in combat, and it was just interesting to explain how, Mast was talking about it. And he said, that's what Trump was talking about. It's like people much prefer to celebrate, something good versus you're celebrating the honor of what someone had to suffer in order to get that, that medal. And it's
twisted
like, they twist it completely out. And it's obvious that that's what he's talking about. And it's just such a travesty, and it's obviously, and they try to spin, and you see some of these liberal, Democrat politicians that keep talking about he's anti-military, and you give the highest honor to the military, and he's given the highest honor to the military and to veterans, but to that point it's like, nobody wants to have to be in a position like that. It's just horrible, and then you look at what the Biden administration had done when they pulled out of Afghanistan and we lost soldiers, for no reason, because of that, horrible, they basically, it was the U.S. putting our tail between our legs and running, and just abandoning a position.
Yeah.
So it's such a horrible look. And now people are suffering at an exponential rate over in the Middle East as a direct result of, that power vacuum that had been created. And, what we see going on over in Ukraine, Russia, who knows? We don't even know what's going on over there.
There's
you just
a
hear
war
little
down there.
tidbits.
It's pretty
There's a
footage.
war that's been.
There's nothing. It's almost like it's like a story hour,
It is. And that could have been over and done with also way in the beginning that they would have sat down at the negotiating table and said, hey, we're not going to fund this war. we don't need this war, and take a
yeah,
harsher stance against Russia and just
people need it. Certain people wanted it. There was a peace deal on the table. Putin was ready to deal. I mean, he's putting a lot of restraint because honestly, he could go in there and flatten it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But
yeah.
do you want to see the ad that's going to play next week during the DNC this upcoming week?
Yeah, let's see this new ad.
Kamala Harris was given one important job as vice president: monitor and control our southern border. How did she do? Did she take the job seriously? Did she do all she could to protect American citizens from an invasion? Did she do anything at all?
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Here's her grim scorecard: murders, rapes, attacks on children, a 12-year-old girl in Texas, a mother of 5 in Maryland, a nursing student in Georgia, all savagely murdered by those Biden and Harris led into our country unlawfully.
We have a secure border.
Kamala Harris was and is a complete failure at her job. Now she's asking us for a promotion? Who in their right mind would give it to her? Restoration PAC is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
We know who would give it to her. That's the problem. We know exactly.
And there's no primary. There was a primary, but not for her. She didn't win. She pulled. It was the lowest. I mean, she was under 1%. She had zero support in this country, and that's who they decide they don't run her as a. I would like to know another point in history where we've had something happen like this, where they just appointed.
I don't think we have. I don't think we have any. You have to go pretty far. But the other part of it too is that the money that was raised and people contributed for Biden. Jeff, I don't care. I might be crazy town. I still don't see her as. You cannot allow her to run. They must see the internal polls. They knew the internal polls for Biden were horrible. You have to know that they're horrible for Harris. You have to. So I almost really think here that, like, how can she be the candidate? Is something going to happen at the DNC this week? I mean, it's on the campaign trail. It's been a disaster. It has. You can fluff people up and you can put out heavily Democrat skewed with 23% more Democrats to skew numbers. So she's up 4 or 5 or 3%. Yeah, okay, but what doesn't lie are the internal polls. They know what the real deal is, and they've got to be flipping out a little bit because every day it just keeps getting worse and worse for that campaign.
Worse and worse and worse. And she's just stumbling and mumbling, and it's crazy. Jim D said that foreign-made voting machine is set up to the vote Democrat on the touchscreen errors, not to mention to download votes over Bluetooth linked to internet, smartphone, private Wi-Fi, etc. And now they know that that's what it does. And they said, well, too bad. We can't do it. And now we're also hearing about all sorts of outcome from the research as they're completing research from 2020. And even from 2022, they have found fraud in the election process in different areas that were high risk in 2020 and high risk in 2022. And there's so much that has been just jammed under the carpet. You have the never Trumpers, and you've got the Democrats, you've got the rhinos, you've got this whole group. And it's not just in this country, it's outside this country as well. The foreign influence to make sure, that they don't have Trump there because he's going to unroot and unseat the deep state once and for all on a global scale. And it was just beginning. We just saw we would have been conspiracy theorists, when we talked about it before, and we actually used to talk about it.
Right, we did.
And we're conspiracy theorists. And we had that show that we started with DNI that was a conspiracy based show. That was, we get into stuff.
All of it, Jeff. All of it turned out to be true. Like that.
All of it.
Then we had to knock some of those. We got to stop doing it because you can't say those things here. So we had to be very careful.
It's because we live in an alternate universe now.
Yeah, and it was
the other timeline merged into ours, and now everything's screwed up.
Everything is massively screwed up. We're coming up on time here, Jeff. I want to say thank you to everybody who popped in here on a Sunday night, on a Monday morning. If you're in Australia, it's Monday morning. So
that's
very happy for all the always pops in here. So it's always great to see you guys.
10 a.m. Whatever time it is over there. 11 a.m.
Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah, so it'd be almost 11 a.m. over there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that 2 hours. I don't know how that works. I couldn't figure out when we were there and we're here, and it's a big thing. But thank you guys for popping in. Really appreciate it. It was we
Amazing.
actually did a crypto focus show yesterday, so this one was not so crypto.
Yeah, you had a great job. I missed the show yesterday. I wasn't here.
You weren't there. I know, Jeff. I hate when I had to carry it myself. It's just too much talking. Even for myself, I'm like, come on, dude, shut up. But you have to fill the dead air. You have to fill it. You have to fill it with something. But it was a good show. We talked a lot of stuff.
Look at this guy. He was quiet, sitting in the background. Oscar,
Sure, man. You comment, Oscar.
what is going on? I'm glad you threw something out there. At least let us know you're sitting in the background.
Yeah.
And for our one viewer over there on Twitch, thank you for
Yes.
keeping the lights on over at Twitch, which is awesome.
Bullish lads, yes, Mr. Bullish, Mr. K. Yeah, very good, man. Very, very good.
Man, I can't
Yeah.
wait for Australia coming up, and
2025 is gonna be
I
awesome.
think it's still TBD. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be, but I
don't know exactly. But when we know, and that's how it's gonna. It's how it's gonna work out, Jeff.
So I'm looking forward to it. Be awesome. Mike, no, thank you. Chip,
Thank
and
you
Jeff,
guys.
always
Thank you.
interesting.
Thank you. I'm trying to put the other one up there, and you're clicking that one. I was clicking the other one. Click. That's it, guys. That's all the time we have. We'll see you on Wednesday night. Anything you want to say, Jeff, before we get out of here?
Wednesday night.
At
That's
8
it. What time?
p.m. Eastern time, Jeff.
At 10 a.m. Australian time. Whatever time zone that would be. That would throw
Australian-
people off. We'll start talking in Australian time. What time are you guys going to be on? 10 a.m. Blah, blah,
They have
blah.
several time zones. That's the problem. Like Sydney to Gold Coast is a difference of an hour.
Gold Coast time.
Yeah, whatever. So that's Sydney's another hour. Then you got Perth, and it's Adelaide.
10
It's
a.m.
all
over there in Australia somewhere.
Yeah, they got a couple time zones. So
And India
I
is
said
10
on
and
my
a half hours ahead of us.
He's on the West Coast, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to be at the Gold Coast. He goes, oh shit, that's way too far for me to go. I thought I could just drive there. I was like, no, you can't drive there, dude. So I was like,
So
maybe
that's-
next time. So that's all we have,
That's how it
guys.
goes. That's all we have. We'll see you when?
You guys
8 p.m.
When Jeff out. See you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.